Hey everyone, so a quick video about Bitcoin, why it's down today. So I'll try to talk fast because I'm super tight on time. Short take is the Japan carry trade is blowing up, and that has nothing to do with Bitcoin, but it does have to do with the rest of the stock market. Essentially, Japan has had interest rates that were near zero for about 35 years, since about 1990. And so a ton of people had borrowed huge amounts of money in Japan in the Japanese yen, turned around and converted that to US dollars, and then used those US dollars to buy stocks and bonds in the United States in the US market. Well, what happened is the economy started teetering a little bit with a weak jobs report and higher unemployment last week in the United States, and the Japanese yen, which has been steadily losing value against other currencies as a result of just insanely low interest rates for a multi-decade period of time, that the Bank of Japan was worried that the Japanese yen was going to slip too far, and they were going to start getting early signs of hyperinflation. As a result of that, they raised their interest rate from zero, literally zero. You could borrow money for absolutely $0. They raised it from 0 to 0.25%. Well, that sent a bunch of people absolutely scrambling, because money that they used to get for free now costs money to borrow money, which is the way it's always supposed to be. And as a result of that, a bunch of people are panic selling U.S. stocks and bonds to try to get the money back so that they can now pay the interest rates on the Japanese yen, which now have interest rates because borrowing money is not free anymore. Well, that has resulted in various stock markets around the world having their worst day, Friday and today, since 1987. So the broad stock market is in a panic sell-off right now, and the spillover effects are Bitcoin. So there does not appear to be any connection to Bitcoin whatsoever with any of this stuff. It's just when everybody's panic selling everything, then people's portfolios are in a nosedive, and people are trying to sell whatever they can still sell in order to bail out other things. So people are, for example, are selling Bitcoin in order to make margin calls on borrowed money somewhere else. Obviously, that has nothing to do with Bitcoin. It's just Bitcoin is a very liquid asset. And as a result, when everybody's panic selling and trying to save investment positions that they never should have leveraged up on in some other asset class, or even trying to save leverage positions in Bitcoin, that does this sort of thing in the market. So what does it mean for Bitcoin? Once again, absolutely nothing. Bitcoin will be just fine. And just remember, the exact same way you're feeling and the same way the market is acting right now is exactly the same no matter how many zeros you knock off the price. So when the price was 5 cents to 7 cents, everybody was talking about, oh no, I bought at 7 cents and now it's down at 5 cents and the world is going to end and I'm way down on my portfolio, blah, blah, blah. And then in retrospect, they just wish they had bought as much Bitcoin as they could at 5 cents or 6 cents or 7 cents. And the same thing happened between 50 cents and 70 cents. And the same thing happened between $5 and $7. And the same thing happened between $50 and $70. And the same thing happened between $500 and $700. And the same thing happened again between $5,000 and $7,000. And now here we are between $50,000 and $70,000. And it's exactly the same thing. And I just can't stress enough in the long term how it just doesn't matter what price you bought Bitcoin at between, let's call it $50,000 and $75,000, which is the range it's mostly been in for the last 5 months. It's just not going to matter. When Bitcoin is $200,000, $300,000, $500,000, $700,000 a coin, nobody's going to remember, including you, whether you bought it for $64,000 or $68,000 or $72,000 or $50,000 or $55,000. None of those numbers are going to matter to you at all, just like nobody worries about whether they bought Bitcoin at 5 cents or 7 cents, 50 cents or 70 cents, $5 or $7, $50 or $70, $500 or $700, $5,000 or $7,000. Everybody was all worried about that for months and years when the prices were in those ranges, and nobody even cares. Right now, they're just glad that they bought as much as they could back in those eras, which lasted for either months or years, depending on the era. So in my case, I had a bunch of opportunity to buy a lot of Bitcoin between, $5,000 and $10,000. And I don't even remember how much of it I bought near 10,000 and how much I bought near 5,000. I just wish I had bought way more Bitcoin in 2018, like at any price in 2018. Absolutely any 2018 price or 2019 price or 2020 price. I just wish I had bought as much as I possibly could at any point in 2018, 19, or 20, or frankly, at any point in 2020 or 2022 or 2023. So, it's just not going to matter. So my advice, which is not tax, legal, or accounting advice, it's just my opinion, is the best thing to do is the same thing as always, which is buy as much Bitcoin as you can and sit on it absolutely as long as possible. And even for the people who were panicking this morning, when Bitcoin very briefly dipped to the low 50,000s or even slightly below very shortly, well, it's back up around $54,000, $55,000 already. It's up like $5,000 in the last couple hours, which is basically back to where it was before this morning. So, same advice as always, or same opinion as always. It's not financial advice. Buy as much Bitcoin as you can, sit on it as long as conceivably possible, and if you let enough time pass, it absolutely, positively will not matter at what price you acquired it at, as long as you acquired it, let's say, below 75,000 a coin. Then it just doesn't matter if it's 64, 72, 51, just buy as much Bitcoin as you can, and you will look back on this time right now just like all the other people did before you, who were in the exact same position at the exact same price levels with just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or 6, or however many zeros knocked off the price. So that's the quick highlights, and I'm here where I'm supposed to be going, so gotta end it there. Enjoy your Bitcoin journey. I am always here to help if I possibly can. Just let me know.